Okay, let's get the meeting started. Let's say the pledge of allegiance to the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have any guests? Any new members? Welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoy the club as much as the rest of us do. Okay. Are you ready? Okay. All the officers come down front, please. Frank's going to help me with this. No, you said Pam's. What are you talking with this? I thought she talked to you. I don't know. Oh.
Do you want everybody where directors and yes,
Directors as well as all.
okay, all of us crazy people. Oh.
Okay. Yep, see, scoot down already. Right here.
Oh,
Right here.
Ron's not here.
Right here.
1, 2, 3.
We got it. Secretary.
Treasurer, vice president, secretary, bond treasurer, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's the other board member?
Friends.
Oh,
He's not here.
He's not here.
Tony's not here.
So you're all there.
Yeah, okay.
We got a quorum.
Well, first of all, I want to thank my committee and everybody that helped out, and especially Mark for being our advisor. So here we go. This is the swearing in of the officers and directors. So those who have been elected by the Charlotte County Computer Group Corporation membership will serve for the calendar year beginning January 1st, 2024. Position of President, Grover Mudd. You have been elected as president of the Charlotte County Computer Group. As president, you will be the chief executive officer of the organization, responsible for the supervision and control of its affairs. You are to perform all duties incident to the office and such other duties as may be provided in the bylaws or as prescribed by the board of directors. As president, you will preside over all meetings, including the board of directors meetings. Do you accept this responsibility?
I do.
Position of Vice President, Mark Ryder. You have been elected as Vice President of the Charlotte County Computer Group Corporation. As Vice President, you shall perform all duties and exercise all powers of the President when the President is absent or unable to perform those duties. As Vice President, you shall also perform such other duties as may be prescribed by the President or the Board of Directors. Do you accept this responsibility?
I do.
Position of the Treasurer, Lydia Risk. You have been elected as Treasurer of the Charlotte County Computer Group Corporation.
Sure.
As such, you will have charge and custody of all the funds of the organization and will deposit them in the appropriate account, maintain records of the organization's financial transactions, and such other duties as prescribed in the bylaws, board of directors, and articles of incorporation. Do you accept this responsibility? And I guess we will get to the secretary later.
Mhm.
And the positions of directors, Mary Burns, Shirley Hammond, Tony Flores isn't here, Janice Crumwhite, and Fran Robitel. You have been elected as directors of the Charlotte County Computer Group Corporation. As directors, you will be responsible to determine the policies and activities of the Cccgc approve the budget, approve all bills and other responsibilities as required by the bylaws. Do each of you accept this responsibility?
I do.
Each of you have accepted the responsibility for the office for which you were elected. I now install each of you to those offices of the Charlotte County Computer Group Corporation for the year 2024.
Thank you very much. You were the fifth president. George, do you really do the bids?
First of all, happy 2024 to everybody. This is our first meeting of the year. And our favorites is going to be RoboForm. Next slide. In a perfect world, we don't need passwords at all. But we don't live in that perfect world. There's crooks, thieves, and scam artists. So we have one thing to help us. We need something, a vault, a safe, or something to protect us. What we have now is RoboForm. RoboForm is a password manager. This is free for your computer, and it remembers all your passwords. I don't know how many times people come into the office with little notebooks with scratches all over it. Well, this was my password from 2021, and here's the one from 22, and I think I've lost the 23 one. That's what happens. With RoboForm, you put them all in, and you have a master password that you have to remember, and then you don't have to remember them. And it also gets you, it'll make up passwords for you with letters, capitals, and numbers. And you can make it any length you want. Any questions on it?
I'm asking these passwords that are in the box, is it on your computer? Or is it in the cloud?
It's in the cloud.
Okay, so that if your computer crashes, you don't lose it.
That's correct.
Okay, and do they assign numbers?
You can pick, you can let them decide them, or you can make them up yourself, whichever you prefer.
Okay.
And you can make them as long as you want. I think it goes up to almost 12 letters.
Is it something that, once I put all my passwords in from all my accounts and stuff like that, can I print it up and put it somewhere?
Yes, it does have a print on it where you can have a list and go through them and delete the ones you want, delete ones you don't want.
Okay.
Yes,
Can you download it from your Google password manager list? Enter it in there.
from Google, I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Put them in individual.
Yeah, one night.
Like you.
And yes,
Kill me now.
yes.
How about usernames? Does it control usernames too?
Which one?
Usernames.
Yes, your username and your password.
What is
And-
Program you need to download?
Pardon me?
Is this a program you need?
It's a download you can program. Or you can use an extension. And I am going to be having a class. Oh, another question.
George,
How do we get this?
How do you get it?
How do you get it? You
Yeah,
just,
you download it, you go buy an app, you get it from the
Uh,
store.
on our website, on today's favorite, the download is there, all you have to do is download it. Put it in,
It's on our website.
it's on our website now. And you have one master password. You put in your master password and you're able to get all the other ones. And when you do a master password, you have to think real hard of something that nobody knows about.
Is there, do you have to subscribe to this? Is there a cost?
A cost is free.
Oh,
They do have,
Okay.
they do have a paid program that you can also buy. It's called Robo Everywhere. And I have been using this one since 1999. That's how well I like it. Any another question?
So your master password has to be secure or someone can get your whole.
Yes. You think of a password, use a phrase or something that nobody else knows,
Don't forget that password.
and don't forget it.
That's the problem.
Yeah, and this is like having a vault with a master password that's another vault, so everything is a vault instead of a vault, so it's pretty secure. Unless you're talking in your sleep.
You're talking about a class.
Okay, I am gonna be having a class on the 22nd of January. The first 15 minutes, if anyone has any questions on it, come to the class. It's in our office. From 2 to 4 on the 22nd.
Calendar.
It is on the calendar.
With it. Well, our friend, that calendar.
Fran, it's on the calendar?
Calendar.
You got one set up for the 15th.
No,
Okay.
I talked to Fran.
She got it right there.
Yeah.
That's when you say it is a Monday.
And isn't that the day that the county is closing?
No,
No, we originally had it on the 15th. And as you know, our office is in the county building. And the county is gonna be closed. And the door is gonna be locked from the outside on the 15th for Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Right. So we decided that we are going to also be closed on the 15th. And I was talking to Fran and he's gonna be putting on the calendar days that we are closed. So if you're planning on coming down to the office, take a look at our calendar, make sure we're there. On a monthly basis, yes.
Yeah, George, you're teaching members health.
Yes.
Just 1 second, you're saying you could help with this robo.
Well, I'm gonna do the first, if anyone has any questions on it, the first 15-20 minutes, I'll designate it as a robo form.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay. I
Okay.
go to say my Amazon.
Yes.
And then I want my password.
Yes. And
Is it automatically?
when you go to Amazon, you can have it automatically put in, or you can say, ask to fill it in, whichever one you want, very personal.
Like this.
Good to go, George?
And, yep,
All right.
While we're moving along, I want to apologize for not all of our officers being here. One of them is out of town, and I don't think the other one, from what I talked to, is feeling real good. But that's why they weren't here.
Well, can you hear me okay? Oh, very good. I don't think I need that. Okay, guys, well, what I decided for a topic tonight would be on wearable technology, especially related to some of the benefits for your health related to the technology. Why I picked this topic was, it's right after Christmas, and who knows what kind of neat gadgets that you might have gotten during this Christmas that might fall under that category of wearable technology. Wearable technology, just in general terms, basically refers to electronic devices that have sensors that somewhere or another monitor parts of your body, one way or the other. And you don't have to actively touch these things or anything else, they constantly monitor it. And basically, wearable tech encompasses a whole bunch of stuff. It could be smartwatches, Fitbits, fitness trackers, VR headsets, smart jewelry. These days, there's web-enabled glasses and Bluetooth headsets. Are just some of the items that would be considered wearable tech. And the evolution of wearable tech. And actually, the first instance that I could find of wearable tech was by a couple guys by the name of Ed Thorpe and Claude Shannon. This was back in 1960. These are a couple guys from MIT that had a great idea of how to beat the roulette wheel. So the wearable tech they came up with, here you guys, a couple guys at MIT, was a cigarette-sized pack transmitter that stuffed in one guy's shoe, and the other guy had an earpiece that what they had postulated is they could actually, by the trajectory of the ball and the roulette wheel, figure out some method to bet and win. Well, it turned, well, that's illegal to begin with. In gambling, you can't have one person at the table and somebody else talking to them elsewhere. But the other part is that there was only a 44% probability that they were ever going to make money on this anyway. They figured it out. But anyway, that was kind of the first instance of an instance of wearable tech. Really, wearable tech really kind of took off about 2015 with the Apple Watch. When the Apple Watch came out, it did some amazing stuff with like heart rate monitoring. You can do activity tracking, the number of steps that you take. And the neat thing about it was that you didn't have to look at your phone every time. Now you can have something answer on your watch, and you can answer phone calls, messages, and everything else on your watch, which was a pretty cool thing. Plus, it had the capability you can actually customize the watch face, which is pretty neat. They have some really cool watch faces. Another milestone in wearable technology came in about 2013, and that was something called Google Glass. Anybody remember what that was about? Google Glass? Oh, here you go. This is what it was. Google Glass. It was kind of a wearable thing that had a camera on it, and this is the first augmented reality set that came about. But this was kind of early in the whole genre of this wearable tech. The Google Glass things, first of all, they were really expensive. They were $1,500 when they came out. And you had to be actually invited to end up using the Google Glass. So it kind of came and went relatively quick. And so we did have a whole lot of development in that space for quite a while. Some of the other common types of wearable technologies that did come along after that, fitness trackers. Probably the most well-known is Fitbit, and that's usually on the wrist, and it tracks, fitness stuff, health, oxygen levels, how many steps you take, heart rate, and that sort of thing. It also calculates, your calories burned, that sort of stuff. Smartwatches, are another very common, wearable tech. And basically it takes in all those things most of the time, of a Fitbit, fitness tracker, plus a lot of other things like, you can manage calls, make calls, you can check emails, you can control your music with your, smartwatch, and you can make payments, with your smartwatch. Typically, the big ones are the Apple Watch and Samsung Galaxy watches are really big in this. And just one thing about the smartwatches, they do come in two flavors typically. One is going to be just Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So you always have to have that connected to your phone within Bluetooth range for it to be effective. If you get the one that has LTE, that's cellular. So you can shut your phone off and your watch will still be able to answer and make calls. So that's, if you ever look at smartwatches and wonder what's one and what's the other, the LTE is going to be a little more expensive. Plus you have to have a rate plan with your carrier. It's usually about $10 a month to have the LTE. Some of the other technology out there that's considered wearable technology, virtual reality headsets. These are something that kind of came along for a while and usually are gamer related. So it's kind of an immersive thing. So you got screen inside this goggles. And so it kind of blocks everything out. That's the whole idea, is you block the rest of the world out. The other is augmented reality glasses. This is an up and coming, you're going to hear a lot more about that this year. And that's glasses that not only you can see through them, but it will give information about where you're at. If you're looking at a particular object, you can do searches. It is going to start incorporating AI into it so you can ask questions. There's several of them out right now. They're all the way from Meta, has blue Ray-Ban AR glasses, which is probably the lowest tier right now. And then they go up, the X-Real Pro here. The nice thing about these is you can actually hook it up to your smartphone or a computer and you'll have a 130-inch screen in front of you. So you have this huge, basically cinema feel and effect just by wearing the glasses. And they have speakers in the earpieces or on the ear loops, so you can hear it. And so far, everything I've never tried them, but they're pretty good from what I hear. The next thing you're going to hear about this year is really going to be big, is the Apple Vision Pro. And this is a mixed reality headset. It's like goggles, but it's going to have holographic effects and everything else. So you can look through them into a room and you can have like visitations with other people in there with holographs and stuff like that. These are right now are going to be really expensive when they come out. They're going to be like $3,500 when they come out. So it'll take some time for the the price point of those things to finally come down. Now, some of the benefits and applications for wearable technology, obviously fitness tracking. Almost everything that is out there right now, whether it be a Fitbit or a smartwatch, are all related to fitness. They're going to have fitness tracking capability. Another thing that's up and coming is called the Oura watch or Oura ring. I'm sorry. It's a ring. It's a little chunky right now, but it's going to be a fitness tracker also. It's going to track heart rate, temperature, oxygen, that sort of thing. And Samsung is probably going to release one pretty soon. But the Oura ring's been around for a while. What I don't understand with the Oura ring is, like, it's a fitness tracker, but if you have a smartwatch, smartwatch does the same thing. But for some reason, people with these rings also have a smartwatch. So I haven't quite got that all figured out yet. The convenience of portability of these things, especially like smart glasses and earbuds. So you can automatically take calls over earbuds while you're listening to music and that sort of thing. Another thing with these alternate reality glasses, what they're saying is eventually your smartphone is gonna be replaced by that. So you'll be actually making calls and everything else right through the smart glasses. A lot of these things have sleep monitoring, so you can monitor your sleep patterns. I've been using this for a couple of years. I had sleep apnea, so and sometimes I could wake up in the middle of the night. I'm on a CPAP machine, so I can see how well I slept. And it's really pretty accurate these days about when you actually wake up, you know, your levels of sleep and that sort of thing. It's pretty good. Safety and security is another great thing for these wearable devices. A lot of the phones and the Fitbit bands have an SOS feature that, let's say if you fall, it'll automatically dial contact for you or 911. And Apple started that a couple of years ago, and Samsung got on board and they have the same thing. Samsung, you're gonna have to activate it. It was funny, I was sitting there, actually, I got an Apple Watch a few years ago. And for that reason, because I was a ball hazard. Well, the problem is I'd be getting in and out of my car and I'd set the darn thing off. So I'd have to try to shut it off. It wasn't actually a fault. But so they're pretty sensitive and they work pretty well. But they're really good for different problems. If you're a ball hazard or whatever, it does fall detection for you. Some of the other benefits, especially with some of the wearables these days, they can actually do remote monitoring for people that have chronic disease or whatever. That the healthcare professionals can monitor that person remotely and see how well they're doing, or if they're having issues, they can pick them up early. And I think one of the really great features about smartwatches and health monitoring, they measure your heart rate and other cardiac parameters. Some of these watches, the Apple Watch greater than Series 4, the Samsung Galaxy watches greater than 3, the Pixel Watch and Fitbit are all approved from the FDA to perform electrocardiograms, ECGs. But I didn't understand what this whole ECG thing was and what was the importance of it, because they were really pushing it. And so what I thought I'd do is take a look around and see if I could find a medical doctor who could explain this to me. And I found this video from Ron Brown. He's an MD that I didn't know he was an MD, so I started looking into it. He does tech for seniors. So this is a short clip from Tech for Seniors that discusses your smartwatch and why it can be an important thing as far as your health goes. We'll see if we can start this up.
Do you think this is going to monitor your heart, diagnose you when you're having chest pain and a heart attack, get an ambulance there on time, get you to the hospital, and save your life? Well, maybe you better watch this video, all right? Let me explain a few things. Now, will my watch save me? Will it get the ambulance there? What is this ECG app on your watch? Well, let me explain this for you. Now, the goal of this presentation is to teach you 3 things that you need to know. I'm going to explain how the ECG app works on your smartwatch. Then we're going to talk about how your smartwatch actually can save your life. And also at the end, I'm going to give you a tip on a product that you can use that isn't even a smartwatch that can help save your life. Let's look at this slide. It was taken from my very popular presentation called Saving Your Life with Wearable Technology. I'll leave a link in the description below. If you look at the top right-hand picture on your screen, you're going to see a very apprehensive man with 1 foot in both arms in buckets of water hooked up to some sort of electronic machine. Well, this was the first ECG machine in 1860. So very early on in medical history, we knew that the electrical activity of a heart is important in diagnosing problems. And over the years, we have developed a machine called an ECG, an electrocardiogram, which is all those little stickies, they put on your chest, and then they push a button and it prints out this piece of paper like you'll see on the bottom left corner. This is called an electrocardiogram. So what's the importance of this? Well, it gives us a lot of information about your heart. It tells us about the past. It tells us if you've had a heart attack in the past, if you've had hypertension, all sorts of information on the history of your heart. It can tell us the present. If you're having chest pain in the emergency department and we want to know if you're having an acute heart attack, it helps us make that diagnosis. We can also look into the future of your heart and tell how well your heart is going to do. All these things, past, present, and future, we can tell by doing this electrocardiogram. So in this picture, you'll see on the left-hand side a 12-lead ECG done by a physician in the hospital. And this gives us the past, present, and future that we just discussed. On the right-hand side, you'll see an iPhone connected to an Apple Watch. This also gives us an ECG. But the ECG feature on the Apple Watch, the Fitbit Sense, and the Galaxy Watch 4 only does one thing. It does not give us all that information that a hospital ECG does. Let me explain the information it gives you. If you're over the age of 60, the chances of getting atrial fibrillation go up exponentially each year. So if you look at the graph, you'll see almost a straight line as you get older. Now, atrial fibrillation is a common condition and one that is so important to diagnose. Atrial fibrillation has many complications such as blood clot, heart failure, but the most important one is it is a major cause of stroke. So we want to diagnose this early and get you treatment. This is the sole purpose of the ECG app on your smartwatch. The important thing for you to understand is that the ECG app does not record your heart on an ongoing basis. You need to have some palpitations, feel a bit unwell, or just want to check your heart, so you need to open the app up and initiate it. It doesn't do this automatically if you're having problems. Once you open the app up and turn it on, then you'll need to touch the crown of your watch. Now, all three watches, you have to touch them, but it could be in a different location. So you'll have to read the instruction manual on that. But you need to do an extra physical gesture by touching the crown or the side of the watch to complete the electrical circuit to do the ECG. Once this occurs, you'll have an ECG done in about 20 seconds. This is interpreted on the watch and it will tell you if you have atrial fibrillation. This is being validated and these devices are all being approved by the FDA as level 2 medical devices. So we know that the diagnosis of this is very accurate. Now, once the information is saved on your watch, it's then transferred to your phone where it's stored as a PDF file and can be transferred, emailed, etc. to your healthcare provider. Now in this example on the right-hand side, this is an ECG done of a friend of mine on an Apple Watch, and he does have atrial fibrillation but is on treatment for it, and this ECG shows clearly he is not in atrial fibrillation. So it's important that you understand that the only purpose of this app is to tell you whether you have atrial fibrillation or not. It doesn't do the past, present, and future that we talked about before. It also does record your pulse rate. So the second condition that we have to talk about is the slowing of your heart. Again, if you reach the age of 60, you'll find that the chances of having a pacemaker insertion to increase the rate of your heart goes up exponentially with age. So the chances of you requiring a pacemaker in your 70s or 80s is quite high. It's a part of your body that just wears out, like your knee, or you have cataract surgery, or you have surgery on your hip or your knee for arthritis. So this is a common problem and one that we have to be careful of. So atrial fibrillation, usually your heart rate speeds up. But in this particular case, your heart rate is very slow. And once you get below 50, then you don't feel very well and can certainly have problems with consciousness, which can lead to disastrous results if you fall or driving an automobile. All right, here is a tip for you. Watches continually monitor your pulse rate. Now this is even so with a $10 watch. You don't need a very expensive smartwatch. All watches usually will monitor your pulse rate continuously, not just when you're having symptoms, and it will give you a notification if you're going too fast or too slow. Now in atrial fibrillation, your pulse rate is generally too fast. If you need a cardiac pacemaker, of course your heart is going too slow. So all we need to do is to figure out what's too fast and what's too slow. So we need to monitor your pulse. So what's too fast? Well, it depends really on your activity level and your fitness. So let's say you're 70 years old, you just really are a bit of a couch potato, you don't do a lot of exercise like your doctor says, so maybe your maximum heart rate's around 120. Well, you can easily follow that on your watch and see what it usually gets up to. So then you could set your maximum heart rate is maybe 120. Maybe if you go walking and you're out doing a lot more activity, you might go up to 130 or 140. So you could set the maximum heart rate at that level. Now, if you started to get dizzy or you felt your heart palpitating, look down at your watch. It'll probably give you a notification, say, hey, my heart rate's going at 160 or 150. Now, if you had the ECG app on your watch, then of course you could look at it and it would say if you had atrial fibrillation or not. But you don't have that because you've got a $10 watch. But now if you go to your healthcare provider and say, gee doc, you know, I got a bit of palpitations in my chest and my heart rate went up and wow, it was 150, 160. That is really significant and certainly a help for us physicians trying to figure out what the heck's going wrong, right? Now the same is for the pacemaker. I would set the minimum heart rate is around 50. And you know, my heart rate personally, it never goes below 60, so I set mine at 60. So again, with a $10 watch, you can figure out if your pulse is too fast or too slow. So if you don't have a smartwatch and you still are interested in the ECG app, then there is a company called AliveCor. They make a device called Cardia Mobile, which can be purchased at Best Buy for under $90. This device has an app with it and it goes on your cell phone. The device is small and can fit on your key ring and can diagnose atrial fibrillation. It is FDA approved. It does store the ECG on your phone and could be emailed to your healthcare provider. Your heart and your watch. Please remember to like and subscribe. Till we meet again, Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors.
And now you'll be able to get it without the echo.
There's one other thing I thought about. Glucose monitoring would be a real nice thing with a smartwatch. It's not quite there yet. If you go on Amazon though, you'll find several relatively expensive watches that claim to do glucose monitoring for diabetes. And not really. It does like a predictive insulin blood sample, so it's not an actual blood sample. So everything I've seen about those watches are pretty much pie in the sky stuff.
Because the Apple's found it harder to do than they expected.
Right, Apple's still looking to do it. And they keep saying, well, it'll be in the next iteration, but it hasn't happened yet. There is that device called the Dextron that does have its own device. And a lot of smart watches have an app that can actually talk to that. But it's actually the patch and that that's doing the sampling. Up in the back there.
So you think if it's FDA approved, then it's accurate?
It's more accurate than if it's not FDA.
So that's the best thing to look for.
Right, if it's
The
FDA.
FDA approved.
Yeah, you'll find the same thing with blood pressure. That's another feature that some watches have, and some specialty watches that are specifically for cardiac care will do blood pressure. The problem with those is they have to be calibrated about every 4 weeks. So it's not like you just slap it on and take your blood pressure. You actually have to calibrate it with a pressure cuff about every 4 weeks to make it accurate. So those seem to be kind of iffy too, as far as that goes. Like I said, if it says it does glucose monitoring, it's probably not gonna be good. Any other questions? Okay, well, I guess that's all I have there, Grover. Want to continue on with the rest of it? Yep, all set.
Okay, are you fine folks ready to see what you won?
Are you gonna take pictures tonight of one? Okay, we're gonna try something a little different tonight. When I draw your ticket and give a number, I want you to come down and sit in the front row. That way she can take the picture and there won't be a congestion at the door like there usually is when everybody leaves at once. We have a webcam. And the last 3 digits are 644. Okay, you want to collect the pad? Where do you want to take? Oh, sir, that's wrong. Oh, down here in the front.
Oh, okay.
That way everybody will be together. I didn't know if anybody had one. Award, right? No, I donated it back. Thank you. Well, if anybody's got a camera that we could use, we'd appreciate it, or. Ready? We have a spring top shelf caddy, and the last 3 digits 651. 651. You got it? Okay, come on down.
Watch that wire.
I see it.
Right one, all right, there you go. Chair.
What's that?
For the camera.
635.
Okay, we have a gift card. A $25 gift card. 632.
That's big, but red.
Shirley, come on.
I have a ticket that says that, but I don't know which one. What? Okay.
The red ticket.
The red ticket, 632.
It's very good. Yeah. No, it's what it's certificate. I'm gonna double check this one. I don't blame you.
Me too.
Check it. Well, I'll let you buy with it. All right.
I'll take it.
What's it, we don't take. And then you gotta go sit there so we can make your picture and name. It's getting what you want. Okay, there you go. All right. We'll get another webcam.
We have another webcam. 633.
Three.
Yeah, I think it's fair now.
Come on out and make your picture.
Get to me. Smile pretty.
Sir?
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I did.
Wireless keyboard on the mouse. Last four numbers, or three numbers, 647.
647.
647.
Oh, that's me.
Take a selfie.
Hey, take a selfie.
Right?
Take a selfie.
You gotta verify the number.
Oh, that's funny.
Right?
Oh,
You taking a selfie?
Router.
Wireless router, and the last three numbers, 639.
639. Yeah, we got it. We got it.
Okay.
Let me see if you got it. Okay.
That's all.
We have to see. 39, okay, and then I'll take your picture. Yeah.
You know what? You want-
You pulled it that way.
Which is
One more.
$20.
$20, sure.
And the number is 952. 508-952. Well, somebody's got it.
Or did anybody?
That's the blue ticket. Blue ticket, 952.
Nobody?
You gotta have a winner. Okay, I didn't get your name. Oh.
Come on down. Okay.
Now, be careful. I will.
We had somebody in the office today that Mary worked with, they left their power cord. If you happen to be here tonight, I've got it. If not, I'll take it in the office.
Here. So you can go to Ted and they'll take your picture and your name. Now we're gonna draw for the computer.
George, you want to talk? You got one.
You got one? I don't have.
I don't need
You sit back. I got it. And the computer is lab tree number 061.
Oh, my God.
You're in the computer, kid.
You did? You did?
I want to
Double proof here, lady.
Sharon's gonna run, but she's gonna win the computer tonight, so.
Did you get me my lottery ticket this month?
Yes.
No. She does match. Okay,
Well, mine.
take a picture with your computer.
Huh?
You can
Oh,
hold
here
it.
goes the money.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. I hope the hell the big numbers.
Okay, that includes the drawing, so Grover,
Just turn around and she can get your picture with the computer. Cheese, and crackers.
Thank you all for coming, and I hope I see you all next month. Or in the office sooner.